Hey, I'm Mike Golden. I'm a sophomore at Bennington College, and this winter I was actually working for Representative Campion as an intern. One of the coolest things I got to do was early in February I actually got to sit down with Governor Shumlin for a few minutes and interview him. So we have that video for you now. It's pretty cool. It was pretty wide-ranging what we discussed, everything from the future of energy in Vermont to whether it's really even fair to call him a liberal. I had a lot of fun giving the interview. He was a great guy, and I hope you enjoy it.
I'm Mike Golden. I'm an intern with Representative Brian Campion, and we're here today with Governor Peter Shumlin. Governor, thanks for being with us.
Hey, so I'm glad you're here. Glad you all made the trek from Bennington.
Thanks a lot.
Great college.
It is. I
was actually down for the opening of your of the new center.
Yeah, your speech was wonderful.
Well, it was short. That's what makes them wonderful, right?
A lot of the time. If you can't be good, just be short.
Exactly. That's my strategy.
So my first question for you is, I was actually just curious how you got involved in government. You ran for select board in Putney in 1980, served there for 10 years, and then in 90 you were appointed to a vacant seat in the House.
That's right.
What were you thinking then? What was going through your head? Why did you say yes?
Well, actually, I never really expected to get into politics, and I got in because I had come back to work at Putney Student Travel after graduating from Wesleyan, and it was an organization that sends, it is an organization that sends educational summer programs, language programs, community service projects over the world for high school kids. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I was just innocently doing my job, and there was a bankrupt college in my hometown called Wyndham College that went out when the Vietnam War deference went out. Mm-hmm. And it had been sitting there bankrupt for about 15 years. No one could find any use for it. And the Federal Bureau of Prisons decided to turn it into a federal penitentiary. Now, you can imagine how Bennington students might feel if they decided to put a federal pen in downtown North Bennington. Yeah. So down by the McCullough House, you know. So I wasn't too happy, and a number of us weren't. So we got Senator Leahy to get the Federal Bureau of Prisons for the first time ever to commit to a town-wide vote, and the Bureau of Prisons thought for sure they'd win it. So we got organized, we defeated it on the vote 95% to 5, so it got slaughtered. But the 3-member select board in Putney at the time, a bunch of older gentlemen, all supported it. And someone said, you know, if someone doesn't run for that select board down there, they're going to come back with that thing next year. They were probably right. So I ran for the select board on a promise I'd try to do something about Wyndham College. And I was reading the Boston Globe one day, this is pre-internet, and I saw Landmark School, which was a school, high school for dyslexia students in Beverly or Pride's Crossing, Massachusetts, was looking to start a college. So I went down with my town manager, we talked to the board, we convinced them to start Landmark College, we put the real estate together to make it happen. And we now have the first college in the nation for dyslexia kids there. They're now in their 25th year. My point is, I realized how much you can get done in public service, and that's what got me to run in the first place. And that's why I'm governor today, trying to get tough things done.
Great. So speaking of tough things, actually, Vermont last year became the first state to enact a state-level single-payer healthcare system. Why has this been such an important issue for you?
Well, you know, the way we do healthcare in this country is really not very sensible. We spend about twice as much as any other country in the world, sometimes 3 times as much, the people that we compete with for jobs. And we have outcomes that are less good than those who spend a lot less. For Vermont, the dollars are frightening. If we continue on the current rate of growth, where healthcare spending about double or triples Vermonters' incomes, we will be spending another $1.2 billion in this state by 2015. Now, what that really means to people in Bennington is $2,500 out of the pocket of every living Vermonter by 2015 that we're not spending now. I was elected governor at a time in this state where Vermonters on average are making the same money they were making 10 years ago. So my question is, where do people think this money is going to come from? The second piece is that our providers, our docs, our nurses, our healthcare providers, can't stay in business in small rural communities because we have a lot of Medicaid and Medicare patients. They get 40 cents on the dollar from the federal government, and they just can't pay their bills. So we have a system that's unaffordable and that's crumbling in terms of access because we're losing our rural providers. So we're trying to design the first sensible single-payer healthcare system in the country where healthcare is a right and not a privilege, where it follows the individual and isn't a requirement of the employer, which we think would be a huge jobs creator. That's how everyone around us that we compete with for jobs does it. And most importantly, that uses our healthcare dollars to make people healthy, not for insurance company profits, waste, abuse, inefficiency, and the sort of mad system that we have right now. So it's an ambitious goal, but we're going to get it done, and I'm convinced when we do that we will grow jobs and economic opportunities because we will have the only sensible system in the country.
Great. So speaking of jobs, actually, that's something that's on everybody's mind across the nation, jobs and the economy. How is Vermont doing? And does the state's new broadband plan play into this at all?
Yes, there are three pieces to our economic recovery strategy. The first is a healthcare system that's affordable that the other states don't have the courage to do. The second is broadband to every last mile of Vermont. We're going to deliver on that by 2013. Even Bennington, Powell, we're going to get it there. And third, the an education system that's second to none, from early childhood education to higher education to workforce retraining. If we can be the education state, we win. So that's sort of the three stools on the three legs on the milking stool that we think is going to allow us to grow jobs faster than the rest of them. Now here's how we're doing. In the last year, we've seen our unemployment rate drop to 5.1%, and it continues to drop. Right now, Chittenden County is an example. Burlington has the fourth lowest unemployment rate in America. We're growing jobs. For the first time since the Great Recession, Vermonters' incomes are rising. So we're seeing results from Bennington County to Chittenden County, whether you talk to Mack Molding or many other companies all the way up to the Canadian border, they're hiring. Now they're looking for people with skills in technology, engineering, science, math, but they're hiring, and we're slowly coming out of this recession. I think Vermont is a bit ahead of some of the other states because we have the courage to do tough things.
Very cool. So moving on to sort of a separate issue, you've taken a strong stance in the past on the Vermont Yankee nuclear plant. I'm curious, where 10, 20, even 50 years from now, where would you like to see the majority of Vermont's energy coming from? And could nuclear ever be a part of that picture?
We believe that Vermont can be 90% renewable by 2050, and we want to get there faster. We're harnessing the wind, the sun, the water through hydro, our streams and our forests, our fields and our forests as quickly as we know how. And I'm convinced that the days of large generating facilities delivering power from hundreds and thousands of miles away are going to be replaced by small community generated power. If Vermont can lead on that, in that area of economic growth, we get the jobs, and we have a planet that's livable for our future generations. I am one of the governors that will talk about climate change anytime. It's real. We don't have time to waste debating whether it's real or not. It is. I'm not going to go with the oil company sponsored gimmicks that, it doesn't really exist. If you don't believe me, check out Irene or the floods of April or May or the blizzard of last March. It's real. And we can't get off our addiction to oil fast enough. So I see Vermont as moving to small community generated power. We're going to be leading. We're going to have smart grid in every home. We're pushing and leading on energy efficiency so that we use less power, use less oil. And I think we'll be first on plug-ins and renewables. And that's really a huge economic engine for our future job growth.
Great. So speaking of climate change and Irene, you said at your State of the State address last month that Irene was a defining moment for Vermont. And I was wondering what you took out of it personally, both as a governor and as an individual.
Well, I think I probably took what most Vermonters took from it. First of all, it was heartbreaking. I mean, to be out there every day trying to comfort the families of those who lost their loved ones. We lost some great Vermonters in that storm, trying to give hope to people who lost their homes, their businesses, their belongings, everything materially that they cared about washed down the river or the brook. Absolutely devastating. But what I took from it is that there is no better place to live, there are no better people than Vermonters. It was neighbors helping out neighbors, strangers helping out strangers. We pulled together in ways that you've never seen a state pull together. And the result is we have rebuilt better, smarter, faster, and with more community feeling and support than I suspect any country, any state in the country. So we have a lot to be proud of. We've got a lot more work to do.
Yeah. The construction I see when I drive up here is amazing.
It's amazing.
It's amazing what they've done so quickly.
Yeah, we rebuilt 500 miles of damaged roads, 35 bridges in record time, and we did it for 35 cents on the dollar. So we're going to apply those lessons to future road projects. But it really is a story of Vermonters, our frugality, our common sense, and our willingness to leave nobody behind.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have one last question for you. The Washington Post recently called you the quintessential Vermont liberal. What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't pay too much attention to the labels because I don't fit any of them. I am very liberal on social policy. I was the prime sponsor of the Marriage Equality Bill in Vermont. I fought for civil rights and other really important initiatives over the years. But I'm fiscally, right, to use the word conservative, but you won't find anyone tighter than me. I believe that we have to pay our bills. We have to balance our budgets the old-fashioned way by not spending more than our appetites can support, and I believe that Vermonters' taxes are high enough. Our challenge in Vermont is not that our taxes are not high enough, it is that they are too high. And I've said many times that as the first governor in almost 50 years that can see New Hampshire from my house, I can do tax policy. So it's hard to pigeonhole me. I also have a libertarian streak. I know Vermonters don't agree with me, but I don't believe in mandating that you have to wear a seatbelt or that you can't use your cell phone in a car. So I sort of am a bit of a hybrid that they're going to have trouble nailing a label on because I'm tough to label.
All right. Well, thanks for sitting down with us. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, and lots of love to everyone down at Bennington College. Great school, and it's good to have you here.
Thanks a lot.
Good to see you.